tragedy. More tea and luxury goods. This new trade history forever. By the late 1830s, opium addiction was crippling China. The streets of major cities like Canton and Shanghai were filled with the visible effects of the drug, families torn apart, workers unable to perform their duties, and a growing sense of despair among the population. Opium, once introduced by foreign traders, had become a devastating epidemic, affecting people from all walks of life. The social fabric of Chinese society was unraveling, and the Qing government faced mounting pressure to act decisively. The Outlong Emperor, deeply troubled by the widespread addiction and the outflow of silver from China, appointed the resolute and incorruptible Lin Zexu as imperial commissioner. Lin was given extraordinary powers to stamp out the opium trade once and for all. His appointment marked a turning point, signaling the emperor's determination to confront both the internal crisis and the foreign merchants' fury. Arriving in Canton, Lin Zexu wasted no time. He ordered a strict blockade of the foreign trading border, effectively trapping British merchants and their opium-laden ships in the harbor. Lin demanded that all opium stockpiles be handed over to the authorities, making it clear that there would be no compromise. The standoff grew increasingly tense, with both sides refusing to back down. After weeks of negotiation and mounting pressure, the British merchants finally surrendered more than 20,000 chests of tolerance to foreign exploitation. For China, the destruction of people's dreams was a moment of national pride and moral victory. Crowds gathered to witness the event, officials celebrated the section's courage. But for Britain, it was seen as a direct attack on their commercial interests and a humiliating blow to their prestige. British merchants and politicians alike were outraged, demanding a strong response to what they viewed as an affront to their rights and property. In London, the debate quickly shifted from the morality of the opium trade to the principles of free trade and the protection of British property and laws. Politicians argued that the Chinese actions threatened not just British merchants, but the very foundation of international commerce. The destruction of the opium became a rallying point for those advocating military intervention. In 1840, after heated debates and mounting public pressure, the British government dispatched a powerful military expedition to China. Warships set sail for the British port carrying soldiers, ammunition, and determination to restore British honor and commercial interests in the East. Thus began the First Opium War, a conflict that would reshape the relationship between China and the West. Officially, Britain claimed it was not fighting to protect the opium trade, but to punish China for resisting British trade and to defend the principles of free commerce. The war marked the start of a new and turbulent era in Chinese history. The First Opium War was brutally one-sided. British steam-powered gunboats and modern artillery overwhelmed the Qing military. British forces captured key cities and threatened Nanking, forcing the Qing to sue for peace. The Treaty of Nanking, signed in 1842, was the first of the unequal treaties. China paid a massive indemnity, ceded Hong Kong to Britain, and opened 5 ports to foreign trade. The old canton system was abolished in 1866. The consequences would be felt for generations. The Treaty of Nanking didn't end Western demands. Britain and France wanted even more access and privileges. In 1856, the Arrow Incident provided a pretext for renewed conflict. Britain and France launched the Second Opium War, capturing Canton and marching on Beijing. In retaliation for Chinese resistance, British troops destroyed the old Summer Palace, a cultural catastrophe. The Convention of Peking in 1860 imposed even harsher terms, legalized opium, more indemnities, and more open ports. Western powers established permanent embassies in Beijing, further eroding China's sovereignty. The Qing dynasty was left humiliated and profoundly weakened. The social impact of the opium trade was catastrophic. By the late 19th century, millions in China were addicted. Some estimates say a quarter of adult men. Opium then spread, families were ruined, and productivity collapsed. The addiction cut across all classes, fueling poverty, corruption, and despair. British trade was profiting, while China suffered deeply. The fight against opium became central to Chinese reform and revolution. Overcoming addiction was seen as essential for national survival and dignity. The Opium Wars shattered China's self-image as the world kingdom. For centuries, China saw itself as the center of civilization, but Western gunboats forced a painful reckoning. The century of humiliation began. The narrative of foreign aggression, national weakness, still shaped global identity. The loss of territory, individual rights were deep psychological blows. This trauma fueled a powerful desire to restore sovereignty and pride. The lessons of military and economic strength were now essential. China's long, difficult path to modernization began here. essential to understanding China and the world today.